Hello everyone for this new video on designing new products and bringing them to market. This time we are covering the production unit cost, right? So when you want to decide how much to sell your product for, you need to think, what are all of my costs for every unit that I make, right? I'm joined in this video again by Andrew and Hi, Andrew.
Hello, Renaud. Nice to see you again.
And let's go into it. So first, what is not included in the production unit cost is the one-time investment that usually is called non-recurring engineering. And it's more than engineering, actually. It's the non-recurring, call it investment to get your product ready to manufacture, right?
Yeah, I agree, Renaud. Well, as far as the non-recurring engineering cost, these are just examples of what is basically excluded from unit cost. For example, product design work, parts and manpower, basically, accelerated life testing, some of the reliability tests that are done on the product, sourcing of the components and setting up contracts with suppliers and etc.
Right, because out of this, again, will not come back, for every production batch that you make. These ones will not come back until you work on version 2 of your product, maybe, but they are gone. They have been spent whether you finally sell 5,000 or 5 million of your products. That's the idea, right? So
That's
do not
correct.
include them in your unit cost. Then something very, very important is the bill of material, the BOM. That's a very important document. And as early as the prototyping phase, you need to keep track of what components, what materials, what accessories are going into the product. Don't forget about packaging. Don't forget about anything, right? And it's one row, one part, right? And it should include an indication of the consumption. For example, one piece of enclosure for every final product, or 4 screws per final product. And there will be the unit cost of these components. Then based on that, you can estimate the unit cost of all the components that go into your product. That's a very big part of the unit cost. So try to get that right. Don't be afraid of spending a bit more time and go into the details of that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the cost of the assembly and packaging and testing in scrap and rework are also included in the unit price.
Right. So that means if your product is designed in a way that is not, that doesn't call for very mature processes, and there's
Correct.
a lot of rejects, you have to be aware that in the end you will bear the cost of these rejects, right? So
That's
think about that. Also, if assembly takes 2 minutes rather than 30 seconds, because you didn't really pay much attention, on design for assembly, you're going to bear the price, the cost of that, basically.
yes.
The next point is distribution, or bringing the goods to markets, right? So once your manufacturer has finished the job, you need to ship it. You need maybe to pay import duties, maybe tariffs, depending on what kind of product it is, where it's sourced from, and so on. Warehousing, local distribution, distribution centers, and so on. Also promotions, marketing efforts. Maybe you need to do some Facebook ads and things like that. Maybe you need to work with distribution partners, and you need to pay for in-store promotions. Do a little TV clip that will run in the stores. There's a lot of things here that might be included.
That's right, Renaud. Also, the cost of the customer service, which is extremely costly, is included, including the warranty.
Right. So reliable product will usually have few issues. Not very reliable product, especially with a warranty that's maybe a bit too long for what it should be, will actually represent very high costs here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so pay attention to that. And that's a nice overview, sort of a waterfall view of all of these costs, and it comes from that textbook called Product Realization by Anna Thurston, which we highly recommend. Basically, you start with your BOM costs, okay, the bill of materials I mentioned. So there's maybe some mechanical parts, electronic parts, packaging, and so on. Okay, add all of that up. This is your BOM costs. Then add up basically what corresponds to assembly. Okay, the labor of assembly, the scrap, the markup, the overhead of the factory and their profit. Then you need to get the products to market, and that gives you landed costs. Now this is like Russian dolls, right? It's
Right.
You landed costs include cost of goods sold, which includes BOM costs and so on. And then on top of that, you have customer support, honoring the warranty, the returns and things like that. And then on top of that, you need to think of your margin, right? Your gross profit, and that leads you to your price. So we've seen a lot of companies forget some of these things or really underestimate them, because a lot of people are very optimistic, but that ends up being a very big mistake. And they might do a Kickstarter campaign and actually, that's quite successful, but actually end up losing money on it, or doing some distribution deals, or selling through some marketing channels, and also actually losing money. So spend a little bit of time planning ahead on this.
Yeah, Renaud, I totally like this chart because it has a summary of all the costs involved in unit price, and I think it's a wonderful cheat sheet for anyone who wants to discuss price or unit cost.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, thanks, Andrew, and thanks everyone, and see you in the next video in this series.